let's do quick hits. You know what? Let's do that. I'm going to read to you top free agents in the upcoming market for the end of this year. Okay? Tell me where you'd like to see them. It's a too early list, as they say, but let's do it. LeBron James.
Ooh. I mean, he's going to stay with the Lakers. His family's there. Bron is on the team. As a Lakers fan, I still agree it would be really cool to see him finish with a year in Cleveland.
I think it would have happened. I think they would have made the contracts work if Cleveland didn't look so lackluster, honestly. It's just so bizarre right now. I think that they're so weird, but it would be nice.
I actually think because of that, now would be the time. Like, just thinking from like a non-biased perspective, like not Lakers, not LeBron, whatever. If you just wanted LeBron to have like his end of year tour, if the Cavs were like what was the problem last year is that they had 4 positions filled on a fantastic team and they were looking for a small forward, and that was the spot that was always rotating, but they were a really good team. They didn't want to mess it up. Now they have the same players, but they're not good. Like they're not getting out of the East. They're not doing anything. So like, why not just put LeBron into that 3 spot? And like, that's a fun team to watch. That's a really fun team to watch.
You're right. He's a very connective guy. I think this is last note on LeBron, but I think in a weird way, like I thought about it over the course of the summer, in a weird way, this Cleveland team is kind of like a amalgamation of all of his best teammates that he's had, like play styles. Like Darius Garland can be something like akin to like a Kyrie, like a shot making, not necessarily a pass first, but can go in the flow of the offense. Donovan Mitchell is, in my mind, basically second to Dwayne Wade. Like the play style is very similar, very smooth, likes to score more so inside, but he can also shoot threes. Dwayne, if he played now, would have been like exactly that kind of slashing guard. Evan Mobley is exactly the big man who, you know, can put up stats but absolutely disappears in big moments. So that's basically Chris Bosh and Kevin Love. And I feel like Jarrett Allen is very similar to Zydrunas Ilgauskas. So it's like a fun, you know, like a little montage type of thing going on, you know?
I like that. I like that a lot.
And then you have DeAndre Hunter off the bench, who's like Rashard Lewis. And
Lewis.
James Jones and all, you know, all the classics.
Richard Jefferson.
Number 2, Paul George. It's interesting that they listed him as number 2.
Where would I like to see Paul George this offseason? Not particularly anywhere. As long as just
podcast?
Not on the podcast would be great. I just don't think he's helpful anymore. Like I don't think he's like a player that like I think about where he's going to be. Like he doesn't. You know, it's like asking me where do I want to see City Sissoko next year. Like, I don't have any particular.
I feel like that's why the fit. I feel like that's why the fit on Philadelphia is good, because he's a luxury to have. Like when he's able to come in and play 15 minutes and able to like put together like he's able to get like hot. You know, aside from that, like he's not really helping anybody win games these days. So I feel like it's like while they can keep him, it's nice, but they don't really need him. Kawhi.
He's redundant. Kawhi. I'd love to see him get somewhere where he can like I said before, I want to have Kawhi pull like a KD in a sense that like I want him to go somewhere where he could win, but like actually where he could win. I think a really fun place for Kawhi to go, if they could somehow make this happen, would be maybe Dallas. I think that would be a fun fit because they're a very defensive-minded team. And if they can turn AD into a useful backcourt, that could be a lot of fun. If we have Gafford, if they could somehow retain Gafford, get Kawhi, get Cooper, and like that's your front court, that would be so much fun.
Nice. Okay. So this list is actually terrible, and I don't have the time to find another list. So we're going to go to trade targets, which is also so strange. Whatever. Doesn't matter.
We can riff them off. We know them.
We're going to go, are they going to get traded? Are they going to stay in the same place? And where we would like to see them get traded. So if the answer is no, it's like one of those like, no, if yes, where kind of things. Right? Giannis.
By the end of the deadline?
Yeah. This year.
No.
Okay. Zion.
No.
I also don't think so. I think it'd be really good for the Pelicans if they did. Like they need to just like quit it, you know? They need to like stop the bad habit, but they're There's no way
They
they're
need
gonna
to restart, but
there's no way to get value for him, like proper value for him, and there's no way that they can live with that otherwise.
they need to restart. There's just nothing to restart.
Right. What do you think about Ja?
Yes, I think he will. Where is an interesting question. One thing that I see a lot of, like, Miami fans want him, and I think it'd be really fun to see Ja beaten up by Pat Riley into like acting like a mensch. But I don't really understand how that fits. I know that that's like what everyone's like hawking out about. I don't understand what happens with Hero and Powell and Kelly Larson. I don't really understand the fit, but that seems to be like what the trajectory is.
So I would like to see him in Minnesota solely for the reason I want to see Anthony Edwards turn into Steph Curry. And I feel like if Ja is playing in Minnesota, it forces Anthony Edwards to kind of be ready to be on the perimeter and more catch and shoot. And I think that will, like, he'll literally just turn into Steph Curry. Like, I would love to see Anthony Edwards' development if that happens.
I like that. I think one thing that Minnesota could use is a pass first point guard. And I think that's what made them so nice the past few years is I don't know offhand, but I can't imagine Conley was shooting like more than 8 shots a game. Like he was diming it out. And I think that was really helpful when you have such offensive heavy players like Ant and Randall.
I think it'd be better
But I like
because there's passing between the two of them as well. Like, I mean, like Ant and Randall. I think like Darius Garland is like what my preferred fit would be, but I hear
yeah.
like also the call is in regards to a pass first. Lowry, do we think he's getting traded?
I'd love to see him traded. I love that guy. He is my favorite player on my fantasy team right now. I would love to see him in a place where he's doing something. The question is, where could he have like no one really needs that role filled. Like of the contenders, everyone likes to talk about Detroit because they're missing that like front court player beside Jalen. I like that. I like that. I think that could work. I just think Markkinen will have some issues if the playoffs overlap with his reserve duty requirements because we know that he needs to go back home to serve every summer. But I like Detroit as the best fit.
Okay. If the season goes poorly, where do you think Donovan Mitchell is going?
Mm. Mm. Here's what I'll say: if the Pistons come out of the East, Donovan Mitchell is going to the Knicks.
Do you think the Knicks want him?
I think that the Knicks, if they don't get out of the East this year, after running that same roster back to back, thinking that it should get out of the East, and then the Pistons go from the worst team to the best team over that span of time, they're going to try and shake it up. And we know what management is like in the Knicks. And we know that Spider's end goal is always to make it to New York. I think that is very likely. But that would be like after the season.
I think there's a high possibility that if he does go somewhere, honestly, he might end up going to the Nets because he wants to play in New York. I think it'd be interesting.
I actually would like that a lot because then MPJ's usage would go down and I'd feel like less of an idiot for my trade.
Cat. If the Knicks do not win a championship this year, which I don't think that they will, what do you think about Cat?
I think he's staying. I think he's home and I think he's happy. And I think you get a good bang for your buck with him and he's box office and no one really needs a stretch big like that right now.
I feel like if it doesn't go as well as the Knicks would like it to go, I feel like there is some move that they try to make with like the Raptors or something. I feel like him in Toronto makes sense just because they need like a rebounding guy, but also someone who can help them space the floor. And that like just makes too much sense to me to not try and figure out something with.
RJ for Cat.
I think the Knicks would
Send it
explode. I think they would absolutely hate it. What about Zach LaVine?
I think he should go to a contender. I think I've said this to you before. I think him on the Pistons would be fun. I really like him as a plug and play off the bench kind of guy. Like where else could you use him that's contending? There's no really in the West, I see. I think a fun move is send him to the Pacers after the season when his contract could be renegotiated, get him on a budget, 3, like he could be like the Duncan Robinson on the Pacers.
I don't know how they would do that when they're clearly gonna go and get Peterson.
With Darren Peterson.
Yeah.
I mean, if they have the first, if the Pacers have the first, like in my personal mock draft, if the Pacers get the first overall pick, they take AJ Demancia.
Yeah?
Darren
You think
Peterson,
so?
I don't think is a fun. I don't think Darren Peterson and Tyrese Halliburton is a good duo.
I think they'd be amazing. I think we saw it with Neesmith, a happy shoot first guy who can be off ball and also can sometimes pass. Like even with Nemhard, like
Yeah, but one thing that Tyrese needs a defender next to him in the backcourt. And Darren's much more of like Darren Peterson, I think is in like he's like the James Hardens of Trae Young's.
okay.
And I don't think that's the player to go beside Tyrese.
Okay. Okay. I hear it.
But AJ, defense, off ball, scoring at all 3 levels. I think AJ Demancia could be like MVP in 6 years.
But I feel like his like Rick Carlisle system kind of needs the player to be able to be like making like very, very quick decisions, Like I feel like he's not, his IQ doesn't move that quickly.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, Rick Carlisle is not going to be coaching for much longer. I wish him the best, but I can't
Why?
imagine he will be. How old is he?
I think he's, I don't know. But
Hasn't
I
he
feel
been
like
coaching since?
I feel like he's gonna be fine. Let's see. You like scared me. He's 66. I feel like
That's
he's,
it? 66?
yeah, he's chilling. He's chilling.
All
He's
right,
at
so let's say he
least
goes another 5+ years. Interesting call. I see the Rick Carlisle and AJ Demancia. I do like. I like that a lot though. Like if they retain Pascal and it's like
the reason why
Tyrese,
I say
all
this is
their
because I
little
just
defensive.
feel like from an offensive standpoint, that's exactly the point guard. That's exactly the coach that Tyrese Halliburton needs in a system. That's exactly the coach that, like this team. Each of these players are absolutely optimized by the system, and they play so like they've clearly carefully worked, including Jay Huff, by the way, quick decision making. Like the random additions that they've made to this team. I think, by the way, also getting rid of Miles Turner, I think was a big consideration as well. I think he just doesn't fit with the system that they use. So I just feel like it's not so far-fetched that they're looking for that fit, especially coming off of a finals run last year.